576-497-7. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Just reliving a fantastic weekend that we had here at the radio station. But we're here live at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill, and plenty to get into. And Wes, do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4 television screens in front of me, and I see basketball. I see basketball. I see basketball.
That's
and
why I don't notice.
Basketball. Basketball season tips it up tonight, including the Crimson Tide. And yes, we are your extended pregame, if you will, as Alabama is at home tonight to the Louisiana Tech. And we will hear from the voice of the Crimson Tide coming up here momentarily. Alabama coming off of a 26-win season last year under head coach Nate Oates, who enters year 3 there for Alabama. Last year was fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, they play a very fun type of basketball, and after the last couple of coaches,
the windshield wiper.
Yeah, the windshield wiper.
Is that where you were going to go?
It's refreshing, fun to watch.
I did at least want to play this comment before we talk to Chris Stewart. Jack Crowe is going to talk to us a little bit later on in the program, give us kind of an overview of college football in his eyes. And later on tonight will be the reveal of Week 2 of the college football playoff rankings. It is at 8 o'clock tonight, so we will not have that for you live on the air. But Brad Edwards is going to join us in hour number 2. Kirk Herbstreit, we mentioned it late yesterday about his comments about the Crimson Tide football team, and we'll give you those comments as well. But let's head down to Coleman Coliseum right now. We'll hear from the voice of the Alabama basketball team coming up at 7 o'clock. With Brian Pasnick, as well as Tom Stipe, the engineer as well. He is Chris Stewart, and he joins us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Chris, how many years is this for basketball for you at Alabama now, sir?
Steve, I think it's number 19. I'll let you do the math on it.
Wow.
But my first one was the 02-03 season. I'm excited tonight, but nowhere near as nervous as I was 19 years ago, roughly at this time when I walked into Madison Square Garden to do my very first Bama game as the radio guy for the Tide, when it was the number 8 preseason Bama, number 3 preseason Oklahoma. I sat 3 seats down from Dick Vitale, and the preliminary game that night was Syracuse with Jim Boeheim and Calipari in Memphis, and I've been telling people for 20 years almost that Carmelo Anthony and I debuted at the Garden on the same night.
Boom. Boom. And that's a year removed from Birmingham Southern. I can go back to the Birmingham Southern days with you, Chris.
Great time. Absolutely. Great people, great time, and thankful I had all those opportunities.
So when you start, what year did you start at Birmingham Southern?
I did Birmingham Southern's NAIA National Tournament in February of 1995 because they won that tournament. They won all 5 games there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and won the 95 National Championship. And that was the first thing that I ever did for BSC. We did tournament games only that year. The next year, we did road games and tournament the following year, and then everything for the next 5 years after that. So I did 8 seasons in part or in whole at BSC before I got the Alabama job.
All right, so I'm going to at least tell on myself a little bit because I'm curious from a play-by-play standpoint, have you ever received a technical foul as a play-by-play guy?
I have not gotten a T, but I've probably deserved it, and I've gotten a look that told me I might be close.
I got that look Sunday, by the way, so that's why I'm going there.
You get a technical foul call in a game.
If you say the wrong thing to the official, they're going to look at you.
Well, why would you say anything to the official? You're calling the game.
Well, you're there
Well,
to
they got rabbit
commentate.
ears. There's some guys, Wes, that have got rabbit ears, and you can be talking to your audience, but if they hear you tell their audience how bad they are, and it's a gym with 30 people in it, and the official is inbounding the ball directly in front of you, and you may happen to say how bad the call was, but it's keeping with the status quo of the day because this guy's been terrible from the start. He might hear you and might disagree.
Yeah, it was something along those lines for me Sunday up in Kansas City in the small college basketball tournament up there. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on, shall we, of what a season Bama coming off of, but a lot to replace, quite frankly, in terms of leadership from last year to this year. Tell me what you think about what Nate Oates is bringing back.
Well, you've got that intangible stuff like you talk about, the leadership and guys who understand what it means to play there and who care about playing for Alabama because they're all Alabama kids, and talking about, obviously, John Petty and Herb Jones and Alex Reese. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy in Herb who was the player of the year in the league and the top defender maybe in the country. John Petty is good three-point shooters there was in the nation and became a complete player by season's end. And Alex Reese, who if we could have finished the script properly, would have made the shot of the century for Alabama with that three that forced overtime against UCLA. But, you know, the script didn't play out right in that sense. But those are three huge pieces and people that meant so much to Alabama. No, I'm not about to get hit by an ambulance, even though I know it probably sounds like that for your audience, so I apologize. But
you're good. As long as you're all right, that's...
Yeah, I'm good. It's one turned it in front of me on McFarland. But anyway, it's a roster that has got a ton of talent, guys, and you can replace a lot, but you can't replace everything. And what Herb and Alex and obviously John Petty meant to that team are not going to be plug-and-play replacements. It'll take time, but I think athletically, basketball-wise, this will be a team that if it can stay healthy, they have no more margin for error with the injuries they've already suffered. But if they can be fortunate finally in that regard, I think they've got a chance to be able to rival just about anybody, not within the league, but maybe by season's end, anybody in the country.
A lot of hype around a particular freshman from the state, and what we have all called "send it in" there with J.D. Davison. How has he looked?
Terrific. He will learn how to shoot it on a consistent basis. And frankly, when that becomes a consistent deal for him, it's not like he can't shoot, he can. But when he does it on a consistent basis, he's going to be an unstoppable player. But he's extremely coachable, really good young man, plays extremely hard, wants to get better at the things he knows he needs to improve on, and it's a short list of things that fall into that category where he needs to improve. So he's got a chance to be one of the greats to ever wear an Alabama uniform, and hopefully that'll start tonight.
You mentioned improving, and wow, what an improvement throughout the year it was last year to see Javon Quinterly, and it was already a high bar to start, but really elevated his play as the season got later and later into the year.
Yeah. Well, a guy, who had moments where he really struggled in the first half of the year and maybe the first half of conference play, but was rightfully named the SEC Tournament Most Valuable Player. He was terrific and showed why he was a five-star coming out of high school and why he is projected by some to be a first-round NBA draft pick if he can follow up the end of last year with a complete season of that here in 2021 and 2022. He's got phenomenal skills, shot it extremely well. If he can do that on a night-in, night-out basis, he will accomplish all the things that he wanted to accomplish in his career that'll set him up in a really good spot where the NBA is concerned.
How many guys do you think are going to play tonight?
Oh, I'm throwing one at a dartboard here, but I'm going to say 10 or 11. They're playing a really good team now. This is a Louisiana Tech team that won 24 games last year and has got a ton of that back, including the guy that was the freshman of the year in the league and is going to be a handful and then some. They've got a battle in front of them today, and they did not play great against Louisiana, who was a good veteran team in the exhibition game 2 weeks ago. They had 2 great weeks of practice, though, from what I understand, and they'll need to play at a high level out of the gate if they're going to be able to get through this one tonight.
Forgive me I knew at one point Alex's last name, but the young
Alex Shiku.
Thank you.
Yeah, my son Parker's already hit me with that in the last 20 minutes, so it was fresh on my mind. I knew how you were going.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And so he is 100% ready to go after the Achilles tendon?
He is, but from what Coach Oates said yesterday, he's suspended for something he didn't go into detail about, but not available tonight, probably not the next game, although that is a guess on my part. I've not talked with Coach about it, but I thought that's what I understood from the press conference. But Alex is a guy that will help this team when the time is right, and a true big, much like Bediako, who's long, athletic, can step out and shoot it a little bit, but gives them a rim presence offensively and defensively that they didn't have last year from a big.
Well, something else that has really noticeably changed is the schedule under Nate Oates. And you mentioned starting with I realized Louisiana was the exhibition, but really the season starts tonight. But to see the likes of an Iona, whoever it is between Belmont and Drake, that's a quality opponent. Gonzaga, right. I mean, this is littered with top quality opponents in this non-conference schedule.
Well, then when you go to Orlando, the potential is there to play Iona, Dayton, Kansas in 3 games. I mean, I think that's right. I may have that bracket wrong, but Kansas is definitely in that field. It's a very good tournament. It's a very tough schedule, and Avery did a good bit of that as well. But Nate is very much a believer in challenging yourself. He said, I may regret this sooner rather than later, but I do think, or he does think, that by the time they get to March, that'll be a major, major help towards putting them where they want to be.
Wow. One other question I have about Nate Oates. So we found out during the tournament last year that they do a weight loss challenge during the season. Now, I'd like to know, does it begin at tip-off of Game 1, or was that kind of a tournament deal? And if that's the case where it starts tonight, does he kind of fatten himself up before the season starts?
That's a great question. I will ask him about that. I don't know the answer, but I do know that 2 years ago we had the conversation that I screwed up on my illness. I just missed the opportunity when I lost during my illness in hospital stay from 170 down to 115. I would have been the runaway winner, although they would have probably gone with the technicality saying that I didn't do it fairly within the rules. But I missed out on the chance to win that 2 years ago. It's been the only good thing about it, but I'd have taken a victory however I had to do it.
Well, it's fantastic to talk with you, Chris, and look forward to hearing you on the call tonight, and certainly appreciate you carving out time on a game day for us, sir.
Glad to do it, buddy. You guys take care. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. That is the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, as they'll be on the call beginning at 7 o'clock tonight. In other words, we're your pregame.
It's November, right?
It's November. I think Wes chimed in with one question.
It's November.
One or two?
Yeah, I got to watch them before all this hype and all circumstance. We'll see how they do.
Let's do this. Let's take our first time out. We've got plenty to get to in this edition of The Drive. Brad Edwards going to join us in hour number 2. Jack Crowe is going to join us later on here in hour number 1. Just getting things started here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Smokey Mike, take us out of the gate, brother.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing, helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now That's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Getting all gussied up out here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Pedro's Authentic Mexican Feast is T-minus 38 minutes away and counting as Jen joins us.
Woo woo!
Hey, Jen. How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing really well. Always good to see you.
It's good to see you. I don't know. Is that really radio talk that you see people?
I get it all the time with
Really?
people calling in.
I mean, I could be in my pajamas and, yeah, it's just,
The imagination is a very powerful thing if
All
you
right.
want to throw that out there.
No.
So,
Okay. So, what are we going to talk about?
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
Well, I want to
big
start
victory
about
last
what
week.
I won.
What
Talking about Purdue.
Purdue, yeah.
The Boilermakers.
So I think we should still talk about Purdue because I won that one.
Yes,
you sure did.
Yeah?
You
Good.
did.
Yeah.
And so, but
Did you actually think Purdue was going to win?
There was,
when you said so, yeah.
Yeah, when you said it, we
Knowing who
told
you-
everybody.
Oh, come on. I don't know a thing about sports.
Well, that's
Yeah,
why.
we knew where it came
Well,
from,
that's
though.
why
That's why we had a little bit of.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm still going to talk about Purdue.
All right.
So I really still think that this week, I think Ohio State, I think they got them. Does that sound good? But how about plus 21.5? You like that?
So you think Purdue will cover?
Or do you think they're going to win?
I think that,
They're going to cover. Yeah.
I both?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. How does that sound?
Both.
No? Okay. So now, but that's just boring. That's old news because that was last
If you
week.
bring your producer with you, it helps, right?
Well,
It helps.
I know people in high places. How's that? Okay. All right. So now
you
let's
like
talk about-
Purdue in the points?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you
okay.
good with that?
I'm
Yes,
good with
we're
that.
good with that.
You're good with that?
Yeah.
That sounds like correct.
Okay. So now we have 3 more. So let's do 3 more this week.
All right.
Okay.
So let's say Penn State over Michigan. You like that one?
All right.
Okay. How about Baylor plus 5.5 over Oklahoma?
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Sooners Boomer going to get gone out of
Well,
the top
no.
10.
So you're just Baylor's getting the point. So
Can I
still,
just ask,
yeah.
are we talking football, basketball, hockey? What am I talking about?
We're talking football.
This is football.
College
Yeah.
football.
Okay.
This is
That's
football.
good.
That's right. Okay, and I have one more. Hawaii minus 2.5 over UNLV. How about that? What do you think about that?
So that's the only favorite that we're going with this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
So no money line picks this week. Last week you won big with the money line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, okay. Well, I'm just saying. Well, it's been, 15 years, since a team won a championship, with a coach who had a visor. So I'm just going to say right now, I'm just saying. And I'm not really a visor fan myself. That's
You don't
just
like
not
visors?
sexy.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Do you think that is?
No, I
I
think
mean, you wear a visor on the
That's
beach.
it's like you can't
fantastic.
wait, make up your mind what you want,
That's
right?
I mean, it's a
Fantastic.
beach kind of headgear,
Right.
don't you think?
I think
Yeah.
one person ever got away with the visor, and he threw it most of the time. So that to pull off the visor, I agree.
Okay. All right. That's all the sports knowledge I know.
So what's going on this week at the Furniture Factory?
Well, now that knowledge I'm better at. Okay. Well, we have Brandon Elder. He's coming in on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Rodeo Bob. He's going to do all the DJ stuff on Friday night. Saturday night's a band. We've got just
Rodeo Bob? Is that what they call him?
Well, we can call him Rodeo Bob. Does that sound good? DJ Rodeo Bob? Yeah, how's that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah, we've got Christmas coming up, so it's going to be great to be here at the holidays. So
already got some decorations back here?
No, well, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
we're getting them up sooner than later. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we're getting some up.
Pretty festive out here on the patio.
Always festive
lights
here.
In there, yeah.
Yes, so it's going to be fun. We're not doing corn dogs this week, though.
So businesses that are going last minute on their Christmas party.
We do. We've got great parties. We've got rehearsal dinners. I've got weddings. I've got corporate events. I've got parties, birthday parties. You name it, I probably have it.
And you have
high school reunions.
You have a bunch of different places.
We do. We have one this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, have a bunch of different places to put them.
Absolutely. Yes, this
Depending
is the party
on what
in
you
place.
Want. No question about that.
Starting with tonight and starting with tequila.
With the hostess with the mostest.
And
right?
You got it.
And she gives you winners as well.
Yeah.
Just doesn't know what kind of sport she's talking about. Yeah. But yet she's giving you winners.
Yes, that's awesome. What sport are we talking about?
I'll know more next week. How's that?
Perfect.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jen.
It's great to be here.
That is Jen here with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. I mentioned Kirk Herbstreit and what he mentioned yesterday in a podcast for ESPN. Here's what he had to say on Bama, Wes.
This is not the same Alabama team. They have one first-rounder on defense and Will Anderson.
Who's in
the rest of them, he's special. But the rest of them are good players. But I'm going based on Alabama. You're used to seeing they had 3 first-rounders in this class, 3 or 4 on that next class, and that class underneath them, I think they may have 3 or 4, all on one defense. They don't have that. And worse than that, they're miscommunicating on the back end. And so they're vulnerable. Like that Iron Bowl, do not just say, oh, they got the Iron, they'll win that. You know, if you're an A&M fan, after A&M won last week, beat Auburn, people forget this. If A&M beats Ole Miss, they keep winning, and Auburn pulls off the upset and knocks off Alabama, Texas A&M is going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So don't just assume that Alabama is going to go play Georgia in the SEC championship. There's still a lot of different things that can happen, and A&M is still in a position where they could get there. But yeah, this Alabama team, there's some great talent, obviously, the way he recruits. But this was an LSU team that was playing hard and playing to win, and an Alabama team, especially early, that was not. And I don't necessarily look at that as like, well, Bama, they're not very good, because look at LSU, they're awful. And there's something about those uniforms on the field together that brings out the best. And LSU was ready to play. And I really felt, as I'm calling the game, I thought LSU was going to make a play late and win it, and they just came up a little bit short. But Bama is a talented team, but they are a beatable team, and we'll see, if they're able to get through this. But it's hard to imagine them beating Auburn on the road and beating Georgia if they get there in Atlanta.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with him. I've been saying it for a while.
Yeah.
The thing about I disagree with, of course, he'll argue the same way. And Ohio State struggled with Nebraska last week, but yet he'll say they're good, right? I mean, but I agree with everything he says. Alabama, though, has many number one talented players on their defense. They're just not playing like that. And it starts at linebacker. And I've been carping about this when all these guys was talking about how great Alabama was. I was telling you the linebackers are not playing well. The inside linebackers. The one from Tennessee, I'm not going to say their names, and a guy that has more talent at linebacker than anybody I've ever seen. More speed, and he's playing not to get hurt. And I've been saying it. And, he played on 4th and 1, he's having more and more plays because he's starting to get called out by his coaches. They've said he's had to play better. They've said it. The announcers have said it during the broadcast. The coaches say he has to play better. Well, he's still inconsistent. On 4th and 1 in the LSU game, he got knocked back 7 yards. 7 yards. I mean, and blocked everybody out, and they almost scored on the play. But I think that that Kurt Herbstreit, I respect him a lot. He's right. I've been saying Auburn's going to be a tough out for Alabama going down there the way they're playing. Now, will Alabama start getting better? I mean, I'm not worried about playing Georgia yet. They got to get there. And maybe they'll take it serious because this team has as much talent as Georgia, in my opinion, if you all the way around. But Georgia's playing – I've said Georgia was the number one team from when? Way before they were number one. I thought they were the number one team, and they're playing like it. That's the difference. You can have number one talent, and it's been the opposite. Last year, Georgia had top talent too, but they didn't play like it. They got some injuries, this or that. So, I think Coach Saban, I chuckle at some of the emails I get when they're saying, well, maybe, what would Josh Heupel be doing with this guy or that guy, or this guy's, and does Coach Saban still have it? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Really? I mean, so, he's beating all those guys.
You'd figure that narrative would come from the other 13 fans from the other 13
Well, I think they
schools.
are. What happens is, normally, it starts with the people talking smack on the internet, and then they get embarrassed and want to blame somebody else. When in reality,
they lost some money on a bet.
Well, but I think it's more the latter, though. I think people who really bet for a living understand that these are 18-year-old kids, and it's a lot of risk that goes along with it.
So I do want to give a shout-out to Dr. Wes Colley, who's been on this program before, has his own formula, the Colley Matrix, which was part of the BCS. Hang on. I reached out to Dr. Colley about putting the BCS formula back together for this year so we can kind of look at it in a different BCS type of way, and he has been kind enough to do that. The BCS proxy ratings that he did for us last night has Georgia number 1, Alabama number 2,
that's surprising.
Cincinnati number 3, Oklahoma number 4.
Because no matter 1 point's as good as 100, by the way, his system is.
No, this is not just the Colley Matrix. He is putting together the BCS formula, taking place of the Harris poll as the AP poll. The Massey and Saracen are in their preferred systems rather than being tweaked when they were in the BCS formula. So, no, this is everything that was in the BCS formula. Georgia 1, Bama 2, Cincinnati 3, Oklahoma 4, Ohio State 5, Notre Dame 6. Then 7 to 10 is Michigan, Michigan State, Oregon at 9, and then Oklahoma State rounds out the top 10. So, where Oregon is a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out tonight, but I'm assuming Oregon
is going to be number 3. They haven't even played a top 100.
Cincinnati
schedule.
is number 2 in the AP poll. They're number 3 in the coaches poll. Let's see here. In a lot of the computer polls, they're either 2 or 3.
The press has the number 2?
Yes.
With a top 100 schedule?
Yes.
Over a top 100 schedule.
The Massey Index, the Colley Matrix has them number 3. The Massey Index has Cincinnati number 12. Saracen has Cincinnati number 10.
I think that's more accurate.
So
Saracen's my favorite, and I've told you that for years.
Yeah.
So,
let's squeeze in Wolverine Dan. We've only got a couple of minutes left here in this segment before we talk to Coach Crowe. How are you, Dan?
Well, I'm doing quite well. By the way, hi, neighbor. I want to say something. Wes, do you drive a candy apple red Ford Ranger with lettering on the back quarter panel?
No.
Okay, well, I could have sworn it was you because, Wes, I live across the street from your aunt.
From?
Aunt Lee.
Oh,
Aunt
you
Lee.
do?
Yes, sir. Guess what? And you know what? The first thing when he met her, she's a sweet lady.
She is a sweet lady, very sweet lady.
Do you partake in alcoholic beverages? And I went, oh, yeah, we're going to get along just fine. So guess what, Wes?
When I was a little kid, she practically raised me. You what now?
Well, you're relatives now, man. We're family.
Know it. Well, you must have just moved then.
He did.
Okay.
Well, I haven't moved yet. Not yet, but right now I did some demo today in the shed in the back. It's a lot of work outside, but the inside's gorgeous. I'm excited. You got a sweet aunt, and the neighbors are so nice to us, and I look forward to it. Bring a little Big Ten in the community.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate the phone call, and let's go ahead and take our final time out as we'll talk a little college football coming up next with Coach Jack Crowe.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day-age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like Great Grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Championships are won right here.
And that is it. The final score, Bama 52, Ohio State 24. Alabama does it. 10 regular season SEC wins. An SEC championship, a Rose Bowl championship, and national championship number 18. 13-0. Absolute perfection.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Fox 54 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Overall, a beautiful Tuesday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We get to enjoy plenty of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s, only dropping into the upper 40s and lower 50s as we head into the overnight. Expect a little more cloud cover through your Wednesday afternoon, but overall, Wednesday's going to be really nice. Again, temperatures climbing into the lower 70s, dropping into the low and mid 50s as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Listen to me weekly on The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Back here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Eli is joining us tomorrow, and we'll also hear from Coach Nick Saban in his final press conference of the week tomorrow as well. But let's talk a little college football with Coach Jack Crowe, who's kind enough to join us. Coach, boy, there's a lot to get into. How are you today, sir?
I am good. Honored to be here. I know November brings up a different conversation than August and September, doesn't it?
Sure does, doesn't it? You kind of weed through the, in August brings a lot of what do you call, optimism, right?
Yeah.
August brings a lot of optimism. By now, if you're a Florida fan, all that's gone.
Oh yeah. And I tell you, November's all look the same, Wes. And in reality, November. Well, let me ask you this: right now, you think folks in the state of Alabama are more focused on what happens in the postseason or what happens in Auburn, Alabama?
Well, I mean, what happens in the postseason is going to depend on a lot of what happens at Auburn, Alabama.
Well, it always does. And
right.
the one that sticks to you the longest is the one that happens in the Iron Bowl.
There's no question about that. Yeah. So, you watch Alabama, and some games you think they're the number 2 team, and they didn't play like the number 2 team. Parts of the team did, but the other guys, I mean, you watch the offensive line, and I watch them, and I'm like, what are they doing? I mean, it's like their schemes. I don't like the schemes, and I've been saying that since before the Texas A&M game. I mean, the way they pick up blitzes is an NFL way that doesn't work unless you're running a totally NFL system.
Wes, you know what? I would greatly defer to you on that account. I'll be honest with you. I pick up bits and pieces, so I think you have considerably more in-depth into it. But, the pieces I pick up on are this. If there's never been an LSU football team that didn't have quality defensive linemen. The rest of their team might not be so, everything and all the circumstances around Ogeron and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to a mano-a-mano football now, it wasn't Georgia, but that was a manhood game up there, and I would go as far as to venture, is LSU still plays across the front like a big boy football team. And so when they lost their center, though, Wes, you tell me, because you know detail a lot better than I do. I used to build an offensive football team with a quarterback, but the next guy I found was a center. And what they've had to go through, and that goddamn shuffling thing, I don't know the exact detail of it, but I've had my ear filled up with people talking about what the shuffling was like, trying to get the offense. And there's nothing worse that makes you look like you can't play, like being confused. And
there's no question about that.
They look like they got their butt beat. But when you're confused, you got a lot better chance of getting your butt beat, particularly when you got LSU caliber damn athletes over there.
Yeah,
So,
and when your center's getting knocked back in the backfield, you can't. There's no way to win like that. Bad snaps, and But it was obvious they weren't ready to play early in the game. The receiver has a first down and comes back, gives it away on third down to try to make a play. I mean, you get the first down on third down. That's how you keep going. You don't worry about scoring touchdowns on third down.
And this ain't got nothing. Any comment I made, Gus is the worst, probably one of the worst I've ever seen. Nick, best football coach I've ever followed. So it got nothing to do about. But he's still got an organization to work through, and I don't think that organization, him to his coordinators to position coaches to players to players, it's just not all tied together right now, Wes. And how far is it from being tied together? Only Nick knows that, and there's not a better guy to get it done. Perfect timing with the schedule, though, because you can go out there and work on yourself and win this football game, and that's what I'm sure they'll do this week.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what a time, to take a step back, to take a step backwards, though. And now will they wake up like they did before? I mean, how embarrassing is it to have 6 yards rushing?
Now that one bothers me. But I tell you what, now that was some heavy Ogeron scheming, and I still would have a hard time explaining that number you just said.
Yeah, I mean, you can. There's no excuse for it. But you look at what they did. They did the same thing Texas A&M did. What I love about Coach Saban is other than just the winning, is he tells you like it is. If you listen to the show and you watch his show, I mean, he doesn't. If you listen to what he says, he's not just giving you coach speak.
No. Oh, I don't. There's never been anybody like him I've ever sort of kept up with. And you know what? How'd you like to be sitting in that Stafford meeting at 7 o'clock this morning, Wes?
Oh, yeah, well, man,
I tell you what now, I just hope that there's enough depth there where those guys going out there to play know that he may push a button and change the depth chart. Because when you start shuffling the depth chart, everything changes.
It does, and I think they've waited too long to do it. That's my feeling, but I don't watch him every day practice either. And I think he was waiting for some guys to come around, and usually he does it in the off week, and we didn't see that.
Somewhat of an off week with a scrimmage on Saturday.
Right, that's just true. That's true. Yeah. I guarantee there'll be people getting looks anyway.
Yeah. So, it's an opportunity to take a major step forward, a lesson learned. I listened to him right after the game. I listened to his comments on the radio right after the game. And listen, I get bits and pieces of Alabama. I get bits and pieces of Auburn. I think I've told you this before, but most of my investment is with Bill Clark at UAB. It's just where I've got an opportunity because of our relationship, and I graduated from there. But I did get the meaning of what he said after that game, and he's still optimistic about this football team.
They can beat anybody, I think, if they play well. But in my opinion, other than this weekend, they can get beat by anybody left on their schedule.
You know what? There's something to be said for this. They're not there yet. And until he gives up on a coach or a player, and you can't go get another coach off the depth chart, but you can, they got a little depth there. They're young. and
there's
other young ones there too. And I don't know. I see. Let me roll this thing forward. I see this Auburn and Alabama game coming down to being a classic, because that other bunch, Wes, they're sort of finding their way through the frontier too.
Well, they're tough on defense, and if they.
I tell you what, they got some lockdown corners. They got some lockdown corners with.
They got a linebacker that's amazing to me. The plays he makes. I mean, they play fantastic.
Bo gets overextends himself trying to be Superman, and sometimes gets out of his lane, I guess you'd say, and makes a problem instead of solving a problem. But they have reeled him in pretty good. So I live for that. I live for that game. I personally, the rest of it doesn't mean that much to me personally. But that game right there, you and I both know, Wes. I mean, that's one we still got our own mark on to some degree. So, boy, that one's going to shape up to be something. Wow, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and to me, the key is, and I said this about Texas A&M, Auburn game. Whoever has the most sacks is going to win the game.
I believe that.
Can you protect? Because if they protect Bryce or they protect Bo, they're going to eat you alive. Especially Alabama's receivers.
The gap between Alabama's receivers and Auburn's receivers is gigantic. But they have learned to work the field with the tight ends, and that's sort of a Bobo trademark anyway. And the talent is clearly on the side of Alabama, but the playing at Auburn is you look at Nick's record down there. I mean, it's not been a good place for Nick. I can't wait to see that one. I'm not going to watch New Mexico State.
That isn't exactly a wild game there.
Talking with Coach Jack Crowe right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, we've only got a couple of minutes left in this segment, but I did want to talk to you about the Auburn-Mississippi State matchup this weekend. How do you size that up this weekend?
I think Auburn's got to get to the quarterback. I think that dude's cool now. I'm telling you, he's really cool. Player for player, I don't know what the line says. I don't keep up with it, but if Auburn plays their game, they'll be all right. But I tell you what, they back down an inch, they're going to be in trouble. But I don't expect that. I think Auburn and Alabama both are playing ahead of themselves. I think both of them know that there's something at the end bigger than anything else they're doing. But I think that one that they're playing to get to, I think, is the world and the rest of their lives, man. Wes, man, it's just the rest of your life, man.
You got to live with it either way.
Yeah, that's it. I think Auburn will beat them, but it's going to be a dogfight.
Incidentally, just to let you know, Coach, the current line is Auburn by 5.5 over Mississippi State.
That's about right. And if Bo doesn't make mistakes and get them in trouble, they'll take care of that.
So we had a question. I thought it was it never entered my mind during the game, but we had a question yesterday. Why didn't they put T.J. Finley in? Did you ever think they should put him in, especially after the fumble?
No, I didn't. I Mike started with me, by the way. I know Mike. I mean, he started coaching with me, and I knew him. Listen, I knew his dad before he was shoulder high, and I know what Mike's doing. He's developing the guy that he thinks has got the character. I'm not saying anything about T.J. Finley's character. That's not a negative, but I think he understands the character of that team is built around Bo, and he's trying to build the character of that team, and I mean the winning character, the on the field character of that team.
What about both Auburn?
I don't think it's it.
I'm sorry, Coach.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What about this Auburn and Alabama matchup has got you genuinely excited, Coach?
I think if Alabama becomes Alabama, I think they're 10 to 14 points better. What's got me excited is I think Auburn thinks they can win again, and I think we remember what it got to with Gus. They didn't believe they could beat Alabama, which is exactly, what great coaching does. It defeats the enemy before you ever engage them, and that's the way they had Auburn. And I think now Harsin's a tough nut, man. He's a competitor.
I think he's a very good coach.
Yeah, I think this is 81 Pat Dye football right here, by the way.
Pat Dye would love what's going on.
This is 81
Coach,
Pat Dye football.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yep.
So the thing, and I think he's going to be fine, but so far recruiting hasn't gone real good for them, for Auburn so far. And that's been kind of surprising.
Well, is it really? I mean, you come from Idaho, you think you know what SEC recruiting is about? You got a wake-up call coming, brother. Now, I think what you might sort of, the early indicators may be far removed from what the final result is in that piece. And they're never going to, match some of the national, acclaim. But I think if you were to really look deep into their recruiting, I'd be surprised. Auburn just has, Wes. They just have an appeal to a certain kind of kid. And you know, because you saw some of them that went the other way over time. It attracts a certain kind of kid, whether he's a 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star. Once they find that niche for that kid, then their talent is going to come back considerably. But they got to find that niche. Now, the one thing I think Brian can, I don't know the guy now. I ought to call him Coach. Like I talk to him by his first name like I know him. I don't know Harsin. I know Will Friend just like you do. I know a lot of guys that are down there. And I think once they find their recruiting niche, it might not be a knock it out of the park. But I tell you what, we're going to find out how hard he'll work at recruiting. He never had to work at recruiting, Coach Harsin did, like he's going to have to work at recruiting now. You know what?
Got to be very strategic in going after guys, too.
Absolutely, and he better have his ear open. Derek Mason and Mike Bobo better be filling his ear up, and he, by God, better be listening because both those guys knows what it takes.
Coach, appreciate the time. Always really appreciate your thoughts and would love to have you on before the Iron Bowl later on here this month.
If Wes asks me, I'll do it. He's got me. See you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Jack Crowe joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Quick Sports Center update, and then we will crunch the numbers with Brad Edwards on the other side as we're live here from the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
Looking for a great deal? Well, I've got one for you. Tom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. And at Valley Equipment, if you rent after 3 on a Friday or on a Saturday morning, you're not due back until Monday morning. So basically, you're getting the entire weekend for the price of one day. And if you're in the service or are a vet, they'll knock another 10% off. Valley Equipment is locally owned and involved in our community through charities and even supporting local teams. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. Stay tuned for info on where that will be and when it will open.
He's like, well, I can either breathe or trash talk. I can't do both. I decided breathing was good.
Bart and Hahn, weekdays at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN+. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. Here we go. The start of the college basketball season, and the State Farm's Championship Classic is coming up from Madison Square Garden. It's a doubleheader, as it usually is. Michigan State and Kansas are about to tip off. Kansas, of course, with a star grad transfer out of Arizona State, Remy Martin, a two-time All-Pac-12 selection at guard. And head coach of the Jayhawks, Bill Self, says he's going to challenge his new big-time player.
Remy's used to having the ball in his hands, and I want to get the ball out of his hands. So that's a little bit different. So at least some. But he's going to be fine. He's not near as comfortable as what he will be, I hope, 3 or 4 weeks from now.
That's Kansas head coach Bill Self. It'll be the Jayhawks and Michigan State, and then it'll be followed by Duke and Kentucky, both games on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and, of course, on the ESPN app. And number 4, Villanova, already with a win, playing earlier today, beating Mount St. Mary's by 50. Also in action right now, number 17, Ohio State on top by 8 at the half over Akron. And number 24, UConn up 20 halfway through the first half against Central Connecticut. Now, coming up at halftime of that college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and ESPN Radio, the release of the second college football playoff top 25, and there figures to be some changes near the top. And in the NFL, the Cowboys placed kicker Greg Zuerlein on the COVID-19 list Tuesday. They're going to have to sign a replacement to play Atlanta on Sunday.
Hey, it's Greeny, and we're jam-packed on Wednesday. The latest on Aaron Rodgers, the latest on Odell Beckham. College basketball is upon us, and a whole lot more. We'll see you then. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Tonight, later on, in between the tip-off doubleheader of games that was currently about to get started on ESPN television, we'll get our second rankings for the college football playoff. But I wanted to bring in Brad Edwards. You can follow Brad on Twitter at JBradEdwards on Twitter. Also, his book as well that he was kind enough to send us, called Dynasty by the Numbers. Brad, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? It's crunch time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I'm curious what you think we're going to see tonight. Not necessarily at the top spot, but maybe let's start with number 2. What do you think we're going to see tonight, Brad?
Yeah, as underwhelming as Alabama was the other night, and I'm sure you've already had a number of conversations about that.
We haven't talked about it at all.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Brad.
What? Alabama, what? It's hard for me to see anybody jumping over them because, number 3 lost.
Yep.
Number 4 was playing a weaker team than LSU and played a game that was almost.
They struggled also. Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically look through the top 10, and outside of the 2 that lost, so Michigan State and Wake Forest, who really was dominant? I don't know. Maybe Michigan was, but Michigan's not jumping all the way from I think it was 7 up to 2. So I think you'll still see Alabama at 2. I think at this point that you'll still see Oregon ahead of Ohio State. And then my big question is, does Michigan jump over Cincinnati? Because for all the uproar last week over, the people that thought Cincinnati got a raw deal by being ranked down at 6, they had their opportunity. Game day in town, all the attention was on them, playing a 3rd straight game against a, mediocre to below average opponent. And they go out there and once again are in a 4-quarter fight. And so Cincinnati certainly didn't help itself. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being the team that won in the top 10 that ends up falling because of it.
So, Cincinnati is the big conundrum. Do you think they're going to sneak into the top 4 tonight?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. I mean, obviously, if you're just going to move Michigan State back and say you move everybody else up a spot, that still would leave them outside of the top 4 at number 5. But like I said, I think there's a decent chance that Michigan jumps over them. Who knows? Maybe they cut them some slack. But 4, to me, I mean, what would be your basis for jumping them over Oregon or Ohio State? I don't see it. So I think Cincinnati's still outside of the top 5. I don't know that it necessarily means that they're done. But this is the time of year where I think it's really important to listen to the explanations from the selection committee chair when the questions start coming, because some of the things that they say will give you an indication of what types of, or basically what they might make decisions based on down the stretch. And I don't think there's any doubt that Cincinnati played another game that was unimpressive given the opponent. And, they will play 2 better teams toward the end, SMU and Houston still coming up. And I think this is where you pay attention to the back end of the top 25. Does an SMU or a Houston creep into that top 25, which is kind of a sign that the selection committee might be giving Cincinnati an opportunity. You're just putting the ball on the tee for them, an opportunity to get a win that they can call quality. And we'll see. But that's what I like to look for this time of year is teams like 21 through 25. Which contenders have those teams on their schedule? Because the ones that do, it gives them a chance to, kind of solidify their resume, if not improve it, with the selection committee.
Talking with Brad Edwards right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. So, Brad, what did we learn from these 7 new committee members in the first rankings last Tuesday?
What did we learn? There wasn't really anything about it that was surprising to me. I went into last week, like most people, knowing that Georgia was a level above everyone else, and then it was just a question of how they would sort out the others. A lot of times when you see the top of the standings, like if you don't watch it live and you don't see it counted down from 25-1, and you tune in later and you look at it 1 down to 25, people might have been surprised, for example, that Alabama was at 2. But then when you see Mississippi State ranked in the teens, okay, now it makes sense because Alabama had 2 blowout wins over teams that were ranked in the top 25. So based on where they had teams ranked last week, I didn't notice anything that was really inconsistent with the way that they had done things in previous years. So I'm not really sure that that anything jumped out at me as, okay, this is a changing of the guard here, where we've got new committee members and now it seems that they're putting more focus on this instead of that. I think if anything, based on who the new selection committee members are, you would have expected there might be more love for the group of 5, but obviously that was not the case, certainly not in the top 10.
Well, I think what they did, I did think they said something last week, though, is if head-to-head matters, right? And that's why Oregon was in the ahead of Ohio State.
Yeah.
You go down the head-to-head mattered if you had the same record. And the other thing is if you don't, if you're playing a schedule that's not in the top 100, how can you be a top team?
True, but I don't know that that's any different from what previous committees would have done. But to me, the big question with Ohio State and Oregon, I mean, right now, I think it's a no-brainer that Oregon is ranked higher because Oregon's win at Ohio State is much better than any win Ohio State has. Now, I'm guessing that, the Penn State win is going to have a little bit more value this week than it had last week for Ohio State, but they still don't have anything close to what Oregon has. I mean, and that's completely ignoring the fact that it's a head-to-head result. Just the fact that, that Oregon has a road win over a top 5 team. So, I think from that perspective, it made a whole lot of sense for Oregon to be ranked ahead of. The question is, if the committee still believes that Michigan State is a really good team, and we'll see how far they fall. Once Ohio State has the opportunity to beat Michigan State and to beat Michigan, assuming that they beat both of those teams, assuming that whoever they play in the Big Ten championship game is ranked in the top 20, then does the committee ignore the head-to-head or basically say it's not as big of a deal as Ohio State's quality of wins that exceed what Oregon has on its resume? Because I don't see anyone in the Pac-12 helping Oregon out. There's not anyone on that schedule. Utah is kind of their only hope at this point, and I believe they have to play Utah twice if Utah were to win the South. So they'd play them in the regular season first, give them another loss, and then beat them again. So that nothing is really working in Oregon's favor as far as the strength of their schedule, other than Ohio State continuing to win.
Yeah,
right.
And of all the one-loss teams, Oregon's loss looks the worst right now more than anything. And I do kind of keep my eye on the computer polls, and the computer polls do not like Oregon at all. In fact, I think Kylie Matrix has them at 16. The Billingsley has them at 12. Massey's got them at 14. I mean, it's just the computers, I realize they're not a factor anymore, but they really don't like Oregon. But even with that really good win on their resume, I think that says more about the Pac-12 than it does about Oregon.
Yeah, it says a lot about the Pac-12 because the computers, now some of the ones you mentioned don't consider margin of victory. Some of them do.
Yeah.
The ones that are processing margin of victory, they're looking at a team that is not only beating a bunch of, average competition in the Pac-12, I guess is a kind way to put it. But a lot of those games, they're only winning by one score. And so when you look at how few convincing wins they have against that level of competition, it's one thing if it happens once or maybe twice, but when you're out there doing it every week, and the thing is, Oregon's not alone. I mean, Cincinnati's now done it basically 3 weeks in a row. Oklahoma's made a whole season out of doing it. Alabama's now done it twice. LSU and Florida, record-wise, neither one is a very good team. But Alabama hasn't done that nearly as often as a lot of the other teams ranked around them have. And so it's a weird year from that standpoint. And meanwhile, Georgia just keeps cruising along. And look, my big question is this, and I know a lot of people will start thinking more in this direction as we get closer to the SEC championship game. Does Georgia have a mulligan? Are they so far in front of everybody else that if they lose the SEC championship game, are they still guaranteed a spot in the top 4? And look, from what we've seen, it's inconceivable that anything could happen in that game that would convince you that Georgia is not one of the 4 best teams in the country. But I would warn you, I don't think that's what the selection committee really wants, even though they say that's what their ranking team's based upon. And the reason I say that is because I think most of us would agree that if the teams in the other conferences continue to do what they're doing, and so, if Oklahoma goes through and wins and Oregon and Ohio State keep winning and whatever, if Alabama goes to the SEC championship game and they lose on a last-second field goal or lose in overtime to Georgia, there will have been nothing Alabama did all season long that would do more to affirm that they're one of the 4 best teams in the country than that result. To play Georgia down to the wire after Georgia has done what it's done in every other game would just scream that, yes, this is absolutely one of the 4 best teams in the country. And yet, I think most of us would say if Alabama loses that game, a second loss is going to knock them out. And so that tells you the committee is not necessarily wanting the 4 best teams. They want the 4 best within, a certain range of criteria, and the second loss would be one of the criteria that would not work in Alabama's favor. So when it comes to Georgia, what I think they have to be worried about is the teams that they have played in the regular season. Is there a quality win in there? Because as you've watched, Auburn and Kentucky take additional losses here late in the season. Obviously, in this scenario, we're talking about Alabama winning the Iron Bowl, so Auburn would take another loss. Would Georgia have a top 15 win? If they don't win the SEC championship game, will they have a single win over a team ranked in the top 15 at the end? And that to me, would be one of those fascinating storylines going into that weekend, would be as great as they've been. If they don't win that game, have they already done enough? And so time will tell. We got a few more weeks to play.
And so much can happen in other conferences too. I mean, if Alabama loses again, they're out.
Except the ACC.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they're so bad. But if Oregon loses again and then goes to or Ohio State and then wins the conference, then that changes everything. So we just got to kind of wait.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does. And look, you could have Oregon lose again, and so everyone in the Pac-12 has at least 2 losses. You could have maybe Michigan beats Ohio State, and Ohio State, basically at that point, you're getting one team out of the Big Ten, and that's it. You could have whoever finishes second in the Big 12 win the conference championship game, so you have a 2-loss conference champion there. I mean, there are scenarios that could play out in these other leagues where we might be in a position where you'd go into the SEC title game saying, well, you know what? If Alabama loses really close, even though they have 2 losses, they'd have a good case. So even though, there are only 3 weekends of games left before we get to those conference championships, there are absolutely a lot of results out there that could still tilt this thing, one way or the other. I mean, I just mentioned the possible weakness of Georgia's resume if they don't win the SEC. The other side of that is, I mean, as bad as they've been, Clemson is still alive with a chance to get to the ACC championship game. And if they win it, I can promise you the committee is going to say, major feather in Clemson's cap. They beat the ACC champion. I mean, whatever that's worth. But they would make a big deal out of it and say that's a big win. So, look, the committee's going to say what they want to say to justify how they want to rank teams, and that's just kind of how this thing works. And a lot of stuff's going to happen in the next 3 weeks to determine, which reasons they use for ranking teams where.
Well, I don't think there's any way Clemson makes it the way they've played and who they've lost to and how they've lost, that they're but in your opinion,
not to the playoff. No.
Yeah.
But they would get ranked if they were the ACC champion.
Oh, absolutely. They deserve to be ranked too. But what about as far as Cincinnati? What has to happen for them to make it, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they're going to have to start playing better. I think when they play SMU and then we're assuming Houston in the conference championship game, not only do they need to beat those teams, first of all, they need to hope that neither one of them loses again other than Cincinnati. and then they need to beat them and beat them convincingly in order to, kind of change this attitude or not this attitude, this belief based on recent results that, Cincinnati's kind of a paper tiger. So they've got to take care of their own business first and foremost. But then, after that, like we just said, talking about it, another scenario is that it would certainly help them. At this point, I don't think they have to worry about the ACC champion anymore since there's no undefeated team left after Wake lost last week.
Yeah.
But it would definitely help their case if there's a 2-loss champion in both the Big 12 and the Pac-12. It could get to the point where there just aren't that many other teams to choose from. And look, we know the public relations situation that goes along with Cincinnati if they're undefeated, and obviously all the talk that's already swirling about the need for an expanded playoff and all that. So it's one thing to leave out an undefeated Cincinnati in favor of a one-loss Power 5 champion. But if you leave them out in favor of two-loss Power 5 champions, or in the case possibly of Alabama, a two-loss team that wasn't even a conference champion, then you're really going to stir up that hornet's nest. So that's what Cincinnati needs. They need to play better, and they need chaos, and especially the Big 12 and the Pac-12.
Wow, a lot to digest there. Just looking at the back half, though, would it be fair to assume after everything that happened last week that an undefeated Roadrunner Texas San Antonio team is going to be ranked tonight?
I don't know. I never make assumptions when it comes to the committee and what they think of teams once they start evaluating strength of schedule, because that schedule is obviously weak.
Yeah.
And at what point do they say, okay, the zero in the loss column needs to be rewarded, that they at least should be ranked over a four-loss team? I don't know if we're there yet. Maybe we are. I know a lot of people want to see them ranked. So I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't make any difference to me. But, but where it does matter, though, is that for every group of 5 team that gets into the top 25, that's one fewer possible, top 25 win that a Power 5 team could probably latch on to for its
That's
resume.
actually where I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So the more group of 5 teams get in there, the weaker that the other contenders' resumes are probably going to end up being.
That's actually kind of my train of thought right there for that question. Now, I did Dr. Wes Colley is a professor over at UAH here in Huntsville, and he did put together the BCS proxy ratings, and we kind of go through this just to kind of look at it. And the Harris poll is being replaced by the AP, but I realize some of the computer polls were modified. But the top 4 currently in the BCS formula would be Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma. The BCS proxy ratings have Oregon at 9. So usually this does kind of mash up pretty good from year to year, but it's not looking that way this year, Brad.
It's not at the moment, but look, we know that a lot of teams are going to take losses over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks actually, including the conference championships. So if Oregon kept winning, and with all the teams around them that are going to lose, they would rise in those computer rankings, which would bring them closer to the top 4, if not eventually up into it on that that mock BCS that you're looking at. So. Right now there's a big difference, and either it's going to be totally irrelevant because Oregon's going to fall by the wayside with a loss, or they'll eventually just kind of climb up by default through attrition.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but it's sometimes fun to take a look at those and see what might have been what we might have been talking about instead if they still had that formula.
If Notre Dame takes care of business the rest of their schedule, which it looks like they should, and I mean win by double digits down the stretch, how much does that help Cincinnati?
It has to help. I mean, look, at this point, it's easy to look at Notre Dame and say, okay, they have a loss to Cincinnati, and they played, especially early in the season, a bunch of close games. Now, one of those was against Purdue, which doesn't look so bad now that Purdue's beat Iowa and Michigan State.
Yeah.
So if Notre Dame wins out, you got to figure that is a, maybe at worst number 7 ranked team. And Cincinnati would end up having one of the best wins in college football, especially with that game being on the road. I mean, you would think, Oregon's win at Ohio State's probably going to rank as a little bit better at the end of the year. But there aren't many teams that are going to have a better win than Cincinnati, so they need help from somewhere else on their schedule. I mean, obviously Notre Dame winning out would be huge for them, but that's why I said they need an SMU or a Houston to pop into the rankings and just give them something late in the year that the committee could prop up as another win to go along with Notre Dame. And I don't know whether they'll get that, but I tell you what, I mean, it's just Well, we talked, a while ago about the possibility that as dominant as Georgia has been, that at the end of 12 games, they might not have a single top 15 win.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati's got a road win against a team that could, would probably be ranked top 8. How do you reconcile that? Obviously the schedule overall is much weaker because the typical team on Cincinnati's schedule is nowhere near as good as the typical team on Georgia's schedule, but still, the way the committee plays around with stuff like that, at some point they start, counteracting their own rationale they use with other teams, and it always ends up being a lot of hypocrisy when it's all said and done. But a lot of inconsistency. We'll see if Notre Dame can do it, because if they can, it can only help Cincinnati a lot.
Did you enjoy the process of writing a book?
I did. The thing about this book is I've had people tell me it's not a book you read; it's a book you study.
Yeah.
Because the book, you guys have seen it. The book is about the dominance of Alabama football under Saban, and it tells that story through a lot of numbers and charts and graphs. And so, you look at each page and you get the perspective for how much better Alabama is than all the other teams in college football over that span. And so in the process of researching it, there were a number of things that I came across and I thought to myself, that can't be right. Like that, I know they're good, but that can't be right. And I double checked it, and it was right. And then, as I was going through the final editorial process right before printing, I thought, you know what, I need to check it one more time just because it is so amazing. Someone else is going to check it. And so I just got to be sure before this goes to print that this is accurate. And, that was what was fun, was finding so many things that not only, was I not previously aware of, but things that really were incredible when you stopped and thought about them.
Well, that one tweet that you had about Alabama not trailing at any point for the last 53 quarters before the Texas A&M game. I mean,
I think it was 57 going into that game. Yeah,
that was. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, just wrapping your head around that number is mind-boggling in this day and age of college football.
Yeah, and so the note that I had in my book was that they ended the 2020 season with 37 consecutive quarters without having trailed at any point. And I had gone back. This was one of those notes that I was like, that can't be right. And I went back and I researched, okay, who was the last team, not just national champions, but any FBS team, to finish a season with that many quarters in a row without ever trailing. And it went all the way back to Michigan in 1947 was the last team to have done that, which is, what words do you have for that? Like, it's just, but on top of everything else they've done too. That's just kind of icing on the cake.
It's information like that you can check out there with Dynasty. And Brad, always appreciate the insight, sir, and we'd love to have you back on.
Okay, well, I look forward to it whenever that day is, and you guys take care, and I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. That is Brad Edwards. You can check him out on Twitter at @JBradEdwards, and again, the name of the book is Dynasty, and that website is BamaDynastyBook.com. Let's take our first time out here in hour number 2. We'll open it up to your phone calls on the other side.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey, Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
Championships are won right here.
Count it down with me, Huntsville. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Gulf South Conference basketball champions reside in Huntsville. The UAH Chargers, winners.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000-square-foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill, along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. College football ranking will come out later on tonight. We assume, reason not to assume that Georgia will be number one, but I am of the belief what Brad just said as well, that Bama is going to hold serve at number 2 as well. And Oregon 1, so I could see them easily being number 3. Ohio State 1. So I could easily see them being number 4. Now, the leapfrog, well, whether or not Michigan is going to leapfrog Cincinnati, I don't know. I really don't know. But we'll see there. Oklahoma is still an undefeated team at the moment. Wake Forest drew the loss. They'll go out of the top 10. There's no doubt about that. Notre Dame is going to rise up through the standings as well. These are all questions that are going to be answered in about an hour and a half, as currently Michigan State leads it over Kansas 22-21 just under 8 minutes left to go in college basketball, Wes Neighbors.
It's November. You know, these teams can if they lose the first 17 games and won 17 games in a row, they'd make it. So the first 17 games don't matter that much because they always say, "What have you done the last month?" Right?
It does matter.
Yes.
Down the stretch, what you did in your last 15
yeah,
games.
So
yes, the committee does make a point to look how you're playing down the stretch.
Yeah. I watch the highlights. And, yeah.
All right, so Nick Saban was asked in yesterday's press conference, what do you look at when breaking down an offensive line?
Ooh, that's easy.
Well, first of all, we've always had a culture of toughness around here, so I'm always looking for, how physical we playing, how tough are we playing, how we finish in plays, how we protecting our skill guys, as well as, the technical aspects. Are we doing things technically right, footwork, hand placement, targets, those type of things. And those are all things that we need to improve on.
Hey, listen, he forgot more football than I'll ever know. But that's just like grade school stuff, what I see they're not doing. Grade school stuff. The things that I taught in middle school. When I coached middle school, my kids coming up. They're not doing it.
What foot do you step off with?
Well, play side food, of course. Where you going? Unless you're going to head fake the guy. It gets really technical, but
yeah,
so that you've heard them talk about me head faking them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I knew they were reading my head and the plays go to right, sometimes I step with my left foot, throw my head that way, and then they go there and I go get the linebacker. So, or just push him by. It just depends, but. You're supposed to step off on 4th and 1, and this is my biggest pet peeve. Or when you got a sweep, and the center opened, tried to block the guy, and took his step backwards in this game. This last game, guy went 4 yards up the field, or the nose guard beat him. Happened more than once. Nobody knows what to do. To me, they haven't started the right guys from the get-go. They've had good games. But, again, LSU did the same thing that Texas A&M did, which I couldn't believe they were the first team to do it. And they did it the whole game.
Yeah.
And, Alabama didn't make enough first downs on third down to break a big run. Because they were close a couple times to breaking a big run but this is little things. The tackle didn't get his guy totally sealed, so they gained 3 yards instead of 30. So, it's little bitty things. On their big run, their tackle took our starting linebacker, who a lot of people thought would be a number 1 pick, and nobody's talking like that anymore, and drove him back 7 yards. Guy weighs 6'3", 240, 250. He gets just blown back. But when you get blown back like that, Steve, you're not only getting yourself blocked, you're blocking everybody else to get to the football.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for it. Anyway, so I watched that stuff, and it's just – I watched LSU's offensive line, and they had trouble protecting, but they don't have – the players Alabama has. And it's like we've mortgaged the house. We're going to play this guy because he has bigger upside than maybe this guy. And the fact is, he's been so inconsistent. And some of the other guys, they're wanting you to – I saw a player, I'm not going to say his name, that's supposed to be all-world, supposed to be a number 1 pick, wanting to go for it on his – after they – lost 2 yards on a run. He was wanting to go for it. What do you – on 31, we don't get it. It's just – it's to me, that's not leadership. You get over there and get in everybody's crawl, pointing to wanting to go for it, on your own 35. Anyway. Well, they just, to me, aren't playing together, and you have to be a heartbeat. It's hard to win, period. But if your offensive line is playing bad, it's almost impossible.
All right, you tell me whether or not you think this is going to happen tomorrow. So, post-game, after LSU, Nick Saban really wasn't all that upset. We didn't get angry. We didn't get angry Saban yesterday. I think this is a non-conference week. It's New Mexico State. I think, 1, we're going to get a late press conference tomorrow, and 2, we're going to get an angry Nick Saban.
I don't think he gets angry on purpose.
Oh, no.
So I don't
there's
think
a reason. No,
but see, what I think's going to happen, Steve, I think he's going the other route. I think I'd be shocked if there weren't open competitions this week to find out who can play center, who's the best second-string center, who's going to. I mean, if you didn't play well in this last game, they're going to figure out this is the week to figure out who's going to step up, who isn't, and you're going to pressure these guys. So I think it'll be more about playing to the standard, is what he'll be saying. I don't think it's too late in the season to have fits and all that, in my opinion. And that's why after the game, I knew LSU had a bunch of players. They have players.
Yeah.
They have players after players. They just they're not inconsistently coached, and there's no culture there like there was, because there's not everybody pulling in the same direction from administration. Oh, that's why they have so many problems. That's why they play so inconsistently. But you look at Coach Saban has to get the. I mean, he's talking about technique. I've been talking about it since game 1. The things they do. I've been talking about schematically. He's saying, I know exactly how they should be picking these blitzes up. This isn't rocket science. But what I'm worried about is it too little, too late to get everybody going in the right direction from the offensive line?
It's week 11.
Because it's not about winning. It's about winning championships. And they'll win this weekend. They'll probably kill Arkansas. Going to Auburn's a different story. You got to be playing at the top of your game. And then beyond that, beating Georgia, you got to be a top playing at your highest level for them to beat Georgia, offensive line-wise.
Let's talk to Jim on line 1 on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Jim?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Hey, you started off this segment with let's just say starting off with the right foot or the left foot, and Wes just turns it around to Alabama LSU deal. Why does he do that?
I guess we were talking about the Alabama offensive line.
I had just gotten through playing a soundbite from Coach Saban yesterday about the offensive line, and that was in reaction to the LSU game.
You started the segment about starting off with the right foot.
Yeah, about blocking with the right foot. Yeah.
Which foot do you?
We're talking about how the Alabama team not stopping.
And Wes just turns it into an Alabama deal.
How dare you, Wes?
Yeah, I know why we talk about
you?
Alabama. I don't know. I know it.
Man, I can't believe you do that.
It's hard to believe in the gym. Have you tracked down those Tua payments yet?
I'm sorry?
Have you tracked down those Tua payments?
No, they're lost.
They're lost.
They are gone. They're covered up, smothered. They're down in
I thought you had that. So, yeah, I thought you had that.
Right next to the bag man. All right, Jim. I appreciate.
Guys, have
Thanks
a good
for
evening.
calling. You too.
I appreciate the phone call.
Well, I'm ranting about how bad Alabama's offensive line is playing.
Yeah.
And I have been ranting about it. I've been worried about it. To me, they have all the talent in the world. And really, to be honest with you, I think a lot comes down to coaching. Having all
the
these
offensive
different
line coach came from the NFL.
That doesn't matter.
Doug Marrone.
It doesn't matter where they come from. If they're not, either you're getting their attention or you aren't.
So Doug Marrone is in your crosshairs.
No, I'm not. I'm not one of those guys.
No, I know.
I'm
you
just,
haven't.
No, but you're talking like a reporter now. See, what I'm saying is, whatever he's teaching them, they're not comprehending. So what my deal is, if you think he's such a great coach, which obviously a lot of people do, then maybe he's got the wrong people playing, because whatever he's preaching them, they're not saying. And I think I've said the whole time, I thought there were 2 or 3 different guys that should be playing more. And this offensive line has not grown, and this past week proved it. Right? 6 yards rushing?
Well,
yeah, so anyway.
Negative 22 of that came.
And let me tell you, we're going to talk about, make Jim happy, we'll talk about Auburn.
I would like
to. But Darius Ham has no prayer to block Will Anderson. He had big-time trouble with the guy Saturday. That's part of Auburn's problem. He has a bad first step on his pass rush. He struggled against the guy at Ole Miss. I think he's a little hurt, too, which makes it even harder. But so game planning for the Iron Bowl is always big, but it's going to be very big this year.
I do have a couple other sound bites I'd like to play from Coach Harsin. Dan and Madison will get right to you on the other side of our final timeout right now here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. And get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel and McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
The forecast calls for football with a strong wind blowing in from training camp.
Football was priority. It's a long football season. It's called tackle football.
A heavy rain of hitting coupled with an afternoon film session. Listen to all the coverage on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Closing time, open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl.
This has been a very long Alabama pregame, as the Crimson Tide Sports Network will take officially over the airwaves at 7 o'clock. If you missed our conversation with Chris Stewart, you'll hear him coming up in 8 minutes' time at the top of the hour. Appreciate the fine folks here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill for hosting us, as they always do, and the food's always spectacular here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Dan in Madison has held through the break. You're first up out of the gate. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Thank you, guys. Anyway, so, Steve, I was the one to ask you about the turkey baking question to Mike Lynch, which you did, which is fantastic. Thank you so much.
What did I do? What did I do, Dan?
About turkey bacon?
Oh,
turkey bacon.
Oh,
Turkey
yes,
bacon.
yes, yeah.
The coverage. Everybody had it. Like Fox News had it.
Oh, did they really?
Oh yeah, Outkick Fox News had it. Saturday Down South was still stuff, but whatever. But they never mentioned you that asked the question, right? It was like, transcribed. So thank you so much. I love your show. I appreciate you guys in the West. I apologize for the last caller. Apparently there's like two breezeways, apparently. With their right step.
Oh, there's no worries. We love Jim. He's just, yeah. He's in overload.
Curry's a hugger. But if you get a question to Mike Leach again, if you don't mind, just FYI.
Yeah.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
The teleconference is tomorrow, and I'm not anticipating a whole lot of. I was thinking it was when I asked him about turkey bacon, it was me and Mike Leach. You get 10 minutes. And I was done.
Well,
that was my
belong on pizza.
See, I like pineapple on pizza.
Well, yeah, that doesn't belong on pizza. So there's anyway.
I'm a pineapple guy.
So Moffitt,
yeah,
the strength coach at LSU, loves pineapple on his pizza.
Yeah.
So I kind of made knowing this and him not knowing that I knew it. Somebody said something, and I said, that's like kind of like eating pineapple on your pizza. Like that. He didn't say a word and kind of got up, walked out. Yeah. And of course, Connor, who's always a nervous wreck around him, I thought he hit me. And I thought, yeah. So do you like pineapple on your pizza?
No, I'm a fat guy.
Oh.
I like meat on pizza. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm a fat guy, and I like pineapple.
You make your sugar go up way too much. It's bad enough the bread, but you throw pineapple on it, it's like, might as well put sugar on it.
All right, Dan. We'll give it a whirl. All right?
Have a great show, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for calling.
Bama Bill is online, too.
Jim was in the breezeway. I didn't know that.
How are you, Bama Bill?
Oh, doing great. How are y'all? Hold on.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Get that out of the way. I had a question specifically maybe to Wes about who are some of the guys on the offensive line for Alabama that we could look at. I know we got the Brockmeyer brothers. What is his name? Latham. These guys.
Yeah, J.C. Latham. So, yeah, I think all those guys are probably future guys. I don't know if they're ready to play. I thought Tommy Brown would, when he's played very, very well. I know he knows what to do. Sometimes it's about getting everybody on their same page. Whoever comes in is going to have to be athletic. When he says they're going to change schematically, what he's talking about is they're going to quit slide protecting so much because people are taking advantage of it. And when you slide, basically, if you slide left, you got the guy to the left, right, or the linebacker in that gap that comes. When you man protect, like you're the center and you don't have anybody in front of you, you kind of drop back, and then you'll have one or two, usually on the same side, meaning the first linebacker, if he doesn't come, or the corner comes, or the safety comes, you pick up whichever one comes. What everybody's doing is they're faking like they're coming and bringing somebody from somebody else who has an open run at the quarterback. And that's how you kind of keep that from happening, because you'll drop the guy that's drops back 2 or 3 yards and picks up the trash, And if nobody comes, then you help out whoever is having trouble. And that's the way you combat these people faking like they're going to blitz and don't come. You see what I'm saying? And then bringing somebody from whatever else, and that's what they're doing. And they're just killing the quarterback. And we don't have an answer for it, and I think that's what Coach Saban means by schematically we're not doing a good job.
Yeah, I know LSU, they definitely had the game plan and on defense for us. But I'd love to see some of these, fresh faces get in there. But I figured, some of them are not quite ready. And obviously, the guys that are, playing are the guys that have earned the position. But maybe this week we'll see some of those guys.
Yeah,
thank you, Bama Bill.
We need to develop some depth, and especially at center.
So I didn't get a chance to tell Dan my favorite part of that whole Q&A was, all the answers that I got from Coach Leach and the initial response from Coach Leach when I asked him about turkey bacon.
Well, and some teams can just...
Wow, darn it. I queued it up the wrong one. That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I thought, so we need the pineapple on pizza. I like that. That would be.
All right.
Who knows what will happen.
I'll give it a go.
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow is Teleconference Wednesday.
I tell the truth, Monday's about to go away.
It is.
Who they're going to hire, that's going to be interesting. And are they going to fire the administration, just change the administration? Yes. If they don't do that, I think they'll be looking at the same problem 4 years from now.
If you missed any portion of today's program, you can head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Download our app. We've got a lot of programming on our app. We've got 4 different channels. In fact, we're utilizing Zone 4 tomorrow for Huntsville Havoc Hockey. Alabama basketball is next.
256-576-4977.
Hold it.
That's 256-576-4977.
Sports Network from Learfield. Crimson Tide basketball is on the air.
To the rack. We are ahead. Bama with the lead.
Crimson Tide basketball is brought to you by Coca-Cola. New Coke Zero Sugar. New look, improved taste. New Coke Zero Sugar. Golden Flake, the official potato chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Cook's Pest Control and Centricon, the unbeatable combination for termite protection. BASF. We create chemistry. And by Chick-fil-A. Download the Chick-fil-A app and score reward points this basketball season. Now live, this is the Ford pregame show. Visit buyfordnow.com or your local Ford dealer and score a Ford SUV today.
Year 3 of the Nate Oates era will tip off tonight in Tuscaloosa as the 13th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide welcomes in Louisiana Tech to Coleman Coliseum on college basketball's opening night. Well, again, everybody, I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you to the Ford pregame show. Visit buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer today and score a Ford SUV today. Chris Stewart, great to see you. Great to have basketball back at Coleman.
First of all, it's an honor to be with the hardest working man in show business. I mean, you literally sprinted up the old stairs from the floor at Coleman Coliseum to join us after doing the women's game, a blowout for Christy Curry's team. Congratulations to them on the opener. And yeah, it's great to have people here and about in a lobby that is filling up as we're an hour away from tip-off in a Coliseum that's going to be very much electric. It's almost like we're getting a continuation, I think, of what last year was and what we wish last year could have been for such a great season, a championship year for the Tide. COVID obviously limited the number of people that could be there, but we were there. We know it was an exciting venue. It just wasn't what it could and should and would have been. But I think people are still basking in the glory of that and at the same time extremely excited about what this particular version of the Crimson Tide will look at.
So much to build on. Went 26-7 in the season, 16-2 winning the SEC regular season championship, winning the tournament in the SEC, and then in the second round taking UCLA to the distance in overtime in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Terrific to see the team do what they did, and especially for that trio of seniors that had been here for so long. When Herb Jones, John Petty, and Alex Reese signed with Alabama, they came in with the intention of doing exactly what they did, and that's put Alabama at a championship level again and putting it on the national stage. And they got a chance to do that in a major way, and not just doing it in a one-year deal. You know, here's the thing. Coaches obviously get the credit, and they deserve it. But players do a lot in terms of recruiting new players into the program as well. They serve as their host. They serve as an example for those guys. And they showed what Alabama basketball can be again. They put it there. They set things up for the group coming behind and made them want to come and be a part of this because it's a place you can win championships, where people care, where it matters, and where there's great history. And those are all things that we were thankfully reminded of as Alabama won its first conference title in 20 years.
And you have the top returning scorer back on this team, and Jaden Shackelford, Javon Quinterly. We know what he can do, leading the way in assists for the Crimson Tide. Other great pieces to build with as well.
There's no question. And it's so rare that you can talk about a team being as good as last year's team was, lose what you lost, and go, oh, by the way, your top scorer's back. Now, they had to re-recruit him. That's been talked about a lot in the offseason with the transfer portal. Guys are looking at different options, and that's understandable as well. But he's a great young man, great player, obviously, and terrific to have Jaden Shackelford here and in an Alabama uniform, and he's got a lot of company in the backcourt that'll be a lot of fun to watch, and the front court, I should say, as well.
Tonight's matchup is presented by Coca-Cola and new Coke Zero Sugar. New look, improved taste. You got a Louisiana Tech team, 24-8 last year, 12-4 in Conference USA. This is not an easy opener for Alabama, but that's exactly how the Crimson Tide won it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Kenneth Lofton is a load. 6'7", 275 alone tells you that when you read that from the bio and the stat line. But is a young man who was deserving of all-conference honors last year, freshman player of the year in that league. Terrific standout who got better as the year wore on. When they were in the NIT Final Four, he averaged over 20 points and right at double-digit rebounds as well, and made the All-NIT team. He is a talented young man that's going to be reckoned with, and he's got some help. They're going to be a really good roster that Alabama will face tonight.
Special will be back in Coleman. Special will be back here at Stipe Lounge. We love to call it the most comfortable pregame show in all of college basketball. Royal Furniture setting us up perfectly for the Ford pregame show. It's good to have this back once again.
It is great to be here to feel somewhat normal once again. There is some sadness mixed with celebration about this. We honor Fluff tonight. Luke Ratliff, young man that we all got to know and love and appreciate and respect for what he did in terms of leading the student section the last several years. Most people know that we lost him very soon after the conclusion of the season last year. Illness that was tied to COVID complications, and tonight he's being honored. They'll be presenting a plaid jacket to the new leader of Crimson Chaos in his honor and his memory. But also, we did the best we could to replicate the plaid. You and I did the best we could in our wardrobe. Brian Passink had the unfair advantage of playing for the man who turned this building into the Plaid Palace. Yes, that is a Wimp Sanderson original that my broadcast partner, our broadcast partner, is wearing tonight. It looks good on him. It's perfect for the evening. And BP, you had a great idea to the things were in place to honor Fluff already, but you added the other mix of, hey, let's all wear plaid, and I'm glad you did.
Well, yeah, if you see some folks wearing plaid throughout the building, it's to honor Fluff. And what was so cool, and you know, we knew this when we met Luke his freshman year, is he was the man in the plaid coat. And the reason he was wearing the plaid coat is to honor the all-time winningest coach in program history, and Wimp Sanderson. So it's an honor to be wearing Coach's plaid jacket, and it's an honor to be honoring Luke Ratliff, Fluff, who we all loved. It's a sad day, but hopefully his family, his close friends will feel all the love that the Alabama nation has for them and their family.
And Roger, they're going to be here tonight as well. And Tom, you were a part of being here when Wimp was wearing the plaid before Brian ever set foot on campus.
What's really weird is I've seen Wimp wear that jacket and yell at passing.
And that was just earlier today.
Yeah, it was. And let the record show that Wimp wants to know precisely when that jacket's coming back. And knowing Brian, as we all do, that's a good question to ask.
It's the first time that Wimp has provided clothing for Brian since he signed him.
Well, I think he questioned even giving him shoes for a while. But one more thing about Fluff. We all did love him, super fan, totally committed to this basketball program, as we are. Obviously, we see him and we know what we see because we are looking ourselves in the mirror 20 years younger or 30 years younger. But not to get lost in this is the very real message that, guys, COVID is very real. We are lucky to have avoided it as a group. And take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, be safe, everybody. I don't want the Luke message to just be his fandom. I want it to be, let's be safe. So I've said it. That was my message in all of this. Love you, Luke. Miss you.
Absolutely.
And we can't wait to honor him coming up at 7:40. So if you're on your way, make sure you're in your seats by 7:40, as we will have that presentation coming up as we honor Fluff and Chris start this basketball season. Roll Tide.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Thank you so much.
We'll continue with more of the Ford pregame show in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you paint your body, your car, and your dog your school colors? Maybe. But it means more than that. It means your alumni network includes the state, the country, and beyond. It means your school ring doubles as your resume, and yeah, you better believe it means more titles, like doctor, CEO, and your honor. Because this is the SEC, and here, it just means more. What does it mean to be part of the Southeastern Conference? That yours is the only conference with its own chant? Well, yes, but it means more than that. It means a study abroad program that might include reforestation in a mangrove swamp in Australia. It means finding your calling, your future spouse, your startup's co-founders, and of course, grilling tongs that play your fight song. This is the SEC, and here, it just means more.
Okay, honey, I just booked our weekend with Alabama State Parks.
Great! Let's pack the van.
Tent?
Check.
Fishing rods?
Check.
Golf clubs?
Check.
Bikes?
Check.
Sparky?
Check.
That's everything.
Let's go!
The kids!
Alabama's 22 state parks offer the best in recreation and natural beauty, from gentle mountains to sugar white beaches. Alabama State Parks, your other backyard. Plan your stay today at alapark.com. Brought to you by Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Drive.
You know, both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
Tonight's SEC Spotlight is presented by Coca-Cola and New Coke Zero Sugar. New look, improved taste. And speaking of new look, it's a bit of a new look for the Alabama Crimson Tide men's basketball team. Brian Passing, we talked about some of the great players that are back, like Javon Quinterly, Jaden Shackelford, but along with those guys, Keon Ellis, a lot of newcomers as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously recruiting has been amazing for guys that are going to be here next year. Got another commitment today. Alabama up to number 3 nationally in recruiting for next year. But let's talk about the new guys this year, because that is pretty good as well. But it starts with J.D. Davison, McDonald's All-American, one of the most high-profile recruits to ever sign with Alabama. The good news is he's got company with a couple of guys that are coming next year, and some of the other guys that are on the roster. Nate Oates and his staff have done an amazing job, but there's a lot of buzz about the high-flying J.D. Davison. He's much more than just an athlete. He's much more than just a high flyer and a dunker, but he is a big-time player that these fans here in Tuscaloosa are going to love. Noah Gurley is a transfer. He's a senior, but he was familiar to this Alabama program as a player at Furman. where he played extremely well, almost too well, against Alabama the last couple of years. Had 15 in the matchup last year against Alabama, had 21 against Auburn, so he's got success playing the Auburn Tigers and playing well. That'll come in handy later this year. So those guys I think you're going to see a lot of. And Charles Bediako, another one of the Canadians to come to Tuscaloosa. That's 3 now. Josh Primo last year, and Keon Ambrose Hilton this year, who isn't a newcomer but will get more minutes than he did a year ago. And, of course, you've got Jusan Holt, who can really shoot it. I'm not sure if he'll be in the rotation initially, but he's going to have a chance to play for this team because of his ability to put it in the basket. So you've got a nice mix of guys that have a lot of experience a year ago, or guys that cut down the nets, got championship rings, went to the Sweet 16. You mix in with some high-profile newcomers, and I think they're going to gel very well. It may take some time, especially with this very difficult non-conference schedule that Alabama has, and that starts tonight against maybe the best team in Conference USA in Louisiana Tech.
It's Louisiana Tech against Alabama tonight in Tuscaloosa, and college basketball's opening night. We'll see what else is going on around the Southeastern Conference when we return in just a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Walk-On athletes put everything they've got into the game. Walk-On Sports Bistro puts everything we've got into bringing you game day with a taste of Louisiana. Dig into our mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp. Plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Catch the Tide on over 70 big screen TVs in Tuscaloosa, Hoover, Montgomery, Mobile, and coming soon to Stadium Trace. Visit walkons.com to learn more about our story. Walk-On Sports Bistro, more than a restaurant.
Hello, my name is Brian Hodson, assistant basketball coach at the University of Alabama. Where would you be without the people who taught you, who believed in you, who helped you get to where you are now? None of the things that I've accomplished in my life would have been possible had I not been placed into foster care and later adopted by that amazing family. Now you can help change a young person's life by doing the same thing. Contact Heart Gallery Alabama and let them help you find the missing piece of your family. If you are not ready to adopt just yet, you can still help out by becoming a mentor. Visit heartgalleryalabama.com.
There is a treatment near you, a treatment that helps your body fight off the virus that causes COVID-19. If you just tested positive or have symptoms of COVID-19, you might be eligible for a monoclonal antibody or MAB treatment, and it may keep you from getting sicker and going to the hospital. Visit crushcovid.com to learn more about the MAB treatment today. Get tested. Get treated. Crush COVID.
Here at Payless Drugs, we continue to be just what the doctor ordered. We know getting the medicine you need is especially important during these unique times. And for your safety and convenience, we offer a drive-through at every location. Plus, we have prescription delivery and contactless pickup at all locations. Now's the time to take care of your immunization needs. Stop by any of our convenient locations today.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Who wants socks, ties, or nose hair trimmers for the holidays? This year, give something that can be remembered forever. The World Games are coming to Birmingham in July of 2022. Don't miss the chance to give family and friends, Dad, a holiday package with gold medal round tickets to lacrosse, flag football, softball, and bowling. You even get a hat and merchandise gift card, all for just $99. Holiday packages are limited. Buy yours today at twg2022.com.
What widens the eyes, tightens the stomach, and flutters the heart. Adrenaline. Feel it for yourself in the Toyota RAV4, Camry, Corolla, and Tacoma. Lease a new 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE for $249 a month for 36 months. Offer valid through November 30th, 2021. Well-qualified lessees with approved credit through Southeast Toyota Finance. 3548 due at signing. No security deposit with select equipment. $350 disposition fee. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and duty. See dealer for details.
It is opening night across college basketball, so it's a good time for our first scoreboard update presented by Alabama Power. The latest scores from the SEC and around the nation are presented by Alabama Power. Proud to support the Crimson Tide, and with his first look at the scoreboard this season, Tom Stein.
And happy opening day to you, Roger.
Happy opening day to you.
Hey, 11 of 14 SEC teams in action today. Second half games in progress. We have Georgia hosting Florida International. Dogs trailing 40-36. South Carolina is leading Carolina Upstate at home 50-37. Tennessee has Tennessee Martin and Thompson Bowling. Vols leading that one big 51-38. And at the half, Ole Miss is leading New Orleans 43-31. Later, we have Arkansas, or just getting started, we have Arkansas and Mercer. Auburn hosting Morehead State. Florida with Elon. LSU welcoming La Monroe. Mizzou with Central Michigan. And later in New York, I guess the headliner, Roger, Kentucky takes on Duke in the Garden. On your mark, get set. We're off and running.
Off and running. Tonight, it's Alabama against Louisiana Tech here in Tuscaloosa. We'll have more coming up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer. IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Texaco with Techron gives you unbeatable mileage for whatever fills your tank. Sometimes that means rolling the windows down and singing your favorite song. Or driving out to do that hike with your friends and their four-legged friends. Or a coffee date with someone that does not live in your house. Because when your tank is full, you go further. Download the Texaco app today and find a station near you. Texaco with Techron. Driving performance.
What widens the eyes, tightens the stomach, and flutters the heart. Adrenaline. Feel it for yourself in the Toyota RAV4, Camry, Corolla, and Tacoma. Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2021 Toyota RAV4. Offer valid through November 30th, 2021. Zero down for well-qualified buyers with approved credit and financing through Southeast Toyota Finance. $27.78 monthly payment for every $1,000 financed. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. See dealer for details.
Configuring the Bluetooth. Deciding who controls the music. Remembering where you parked. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with an auto owner's insurance independent agent, getting the right coverage for your vehicle doesn't have to be one of them. So you can get back to more important things, like remembering if you're on the 3rd or 4th level of the parking garage. That's simple human sense.
Visit AutoOwners.com to find a local agent today.